Hello everyone, and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV. I mentioned it in my, I think it was either Nier or Eden Raids. I think it was the Eden Raids. But I was considering playing through Shadowbringers again because it's been a while. And I wanted to kind of get a refresher and everything. So I have turned on the New Game Plus on Rin here because I purchased a skip that goes all the way to the end of Endwalker, so I can't run it without using a New Game Plus. Which does mean that we're not going to be getting experience from any of the quests, which could mean that there may come a couple of points where I have to stop and do a little extra leveling in between like episodes or things. But what we're going to do is I've got level 72 Dancer. I don't really have a good Dancer glam, unfortunately, so I'm just using this. But I'm going to go with my level 72 Dancer because most of my classes are way higher level. You know, Monk 77, 76, 78, you know, so on and so forth. You know, Warrior, Dark Knight, Gunbreaker, all 80, so on, you know. But I figured this would be a fun way to go back through the story in Shadowbringers. Obviously, you know, I have completed this. You know, you can go look. I did Endwalker and I did Dawn Trail both as blind playthroughs, sort of. If you check Endwalker, I think it was like the first 3 episodes of it, I had to go back in New Game Plus. So it was actually really funny because I recorded those episodes after I had recorded everything else. I make like a big deal about that. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back, you know, and like I couldn't upload any of the episodes until I did those, but I couldn't unlock New Game Plus until I finished it. So I recorded the entire thing all before uploading any of it. It was real fun. Yeah, we are in New Game Plus mode. We are immediately on the first quest of Shadowbringers itself, which is that we need to go to the Circus Trench. Taro is itching to share what appears to be good news. This is also why they made Crystal Tower required, because you go to Crystal Tower for this, to start this. Good news, Rin! Had a stroke of luck in our research for that beacon. Apparently our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. Path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. Now we better go and give them a hand. Sounds like tedious work, but not as tedious as waiting around, I suppose. I do know at this point the Scions have been all, like, stolen away, so my thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is that mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again. I mean, we have no time to lose. Don't worry, the Garlean Empire is under collapse. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. But yeah, this is partly why Crystal Tower is required to complete nowadays, because of Shadowbringers. It's also why this is the only alliance. Excuse me. That's also why it's the only alliance raid that is like required to complete right now, because of the fact that it's, you know, required for this part of the story. And I mean, technically, once you finish Shadowbringers, there's some stuff, but like you still need it for this. So heading to the survey site, madam. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Here we are. We're in the trench around the Crystal Tower. Hey, I get to see some of these people that actually just showed up in the in Dawn Trail, actually. And I was kind of like, wait, who are these? Hey, some voicing.
Oh, 真打ちも合流か。手がかりが少なくて困ってたんだ。助かるぜ。
ビックスさん、ウエッジさんも。
Big switch.
暁の決命のピンチとなりや、協力しないわけにいかないからな。ジェシーにとっ捕まって来られなかったシド会長の分まで、俺たちが働かせてもらうぜ。
頑張れっす。ありがとう。
I forgot that was their voices.
みんなで必ず装置を見つけるです。
Now I can already tell that I need to up the volume on my side, which I just did.
僕らにはなさそうだな。
You won't notice any difference though.
いくらオイラでもさすがに無理っす。
それじゃあ私がやるです。
タタルさんにそんなことさせられないっす。
心配無用です。私動ける受付なのです。
What's this?
悪い、伝えてなかった。奥の方はまだ安全が確保されてないから、深入りしすぎるなって財団の調査員が。って何か見つけたのか。おお、これまでの中では一番装置っぽいな。
We're always so conveniently being able to find everything that we're looking for.
桃よ、なんかちょっとうちのロゴに似てるっす。類似品にご注意っす。
What?
今度こそ。おい、大丈夫か。
何事っす。さあ、
すり抜けてくれるなよ。悠久の時を経てここに時空を超えよ。
もしかしてその装置が正解だったのですね。
我にその門を開け。
どうかご無事で。必ず皆さんを。
And poof! Right in front of everybody, we just vanish. Gone in an instant. Whee! We're flying! Also, I am debating switching over to the English voicing just because I haven't played this, and like I did all this in the Japanese before. Hardbird.
そんな結末のために俺たちは歩んできたんじゃない。
Rather, the warrior of darkness. Sorry, we're not supposed to know that yet. Not supposed to know his name yet. Minfilia!
あなたはまだ消えるべきではないわ。
Darkness. Sorry, I just have nothing to say at this moment. If I was playing this for the first time, I'd probably be like, "Ooh," you know. But that would probably be the extent of it. We awakened. We're in Purple Land. I do vastly prefer the Japanese voicing though. But since I've already played through this, I might consider switching to English. Just because, you know, I've heard all the voice lines and things, so. Hey, it's that guy! I forgot his name, but he was it. The guy we met in the original.
こんな真夜中にどうしたね。
What do you mean this time of night?
これはまた随分懐かしい冗談だ。俺のじいさんも仲間と遅くまで飲むときに言ってたっけ。お客さん、酔っ払うのはほどほどに。暗い夜なんて来るわけもないじゃないですか。
Listen, I'm not from around
世
here.
界から闇という闇が失われてもう100年も経ってます。
Oh. It's been 100 years since there has been a nighttime.
どうした？まるで本当にわからないって顔じゃないか。さてはあいつらに襲われでもしたか。混乱しちまってかわいそうに。
Nah, I'm good.
俺は次の商いがあるからこのままよそに行っちまうが、お前さんは近くの町で保護してもらうといい。この森を東に抜けると巨大な水晶の塔が見える。そのたもとがここらで一番大きな都市。
Obviously, if I'm gonna switch it to English, you know, I
光に
can't.
反逆せし者が集うクリスタリウムだ。
Until, you know, I can get to the options.
「その塔はどこまでも高くそびえていた。まるで光に覆われた空を裂くかのように。
Ah. Missed it.
そこから戦いが再び始まる。光を闇に、正義を悪に覆していく戦いが。
Shadowbringers. The music in this is so good. We are officially in Lakeland. I can't use any mounts right now.
Halt!
Hmm?
Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not. This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions.
Okay.
From where do you hail?
The source. Limsa Limitsa, the source.
The source? What is this cryptic nonsense? Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin. But instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass.
Whoa. Nasty little bugger. What? What that?
That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand. Ring and all.
Oh. That's, Yep. That's unfortunate. We literally just met him.
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort her to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known.
Should have known.
Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private.
Definitely need to modify the volume. I think I might have to bump up the voice, but lower the BGM slightly.
Right then. Before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you were still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief.
Okay, I can actually bump down the BGM at least.
And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
Are the other scions here? Do you have any idea how much trouble you've caused?
An inkling, yes. I can only beg your forgiveness. Matters here forced my hand, but all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. that I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. Though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
And here we are. At long last. Well, I guess not at long last, but here we are. The Crystarium.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
Event, the Crystarium. Wow, voices are at 70. I'll bump it up to 85. And hopefully that'll help. And here we are. Welcome, my friend, to the Crystarium. Yay! We got nothing for it. With the City of the First, the Crystal Exarch has a request for you. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a few of the Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should in theory be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection in the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. If you don't, then you'll have to really work to get back here. If you've done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head to the left to arrive in the crystalline beam. This is where you'll find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokeswoman, Catalyst, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morn. To reach him and his cabinet of curiosity, you want to avoid the aforementioned steps. Take the exit on the left and simply continue straight along and down until you come to the large doors at the end of the path. The third and final person I should like you to meet is Broggy, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. To the right and down the way now? Crystal clear. Been here so many times. Ha, very good. I concede the layout of the Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars, and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There's an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you're finished making the rounds, pray, meet me in the large courtyard at the center of town. Until then. It is wild to me to see the sky filled with light. Like, I haven't seen it like this in so long. And though we are already attuned, we must attune again. By focusing your senses, you detect the flow of vastly distant currents of ether. Your connection to these energies is faint, but stable, and should allow teleportation to etherites in the source. And now, we can go around and talk to everybody else. I will hit Peloton, but as I mentioned in one of my other recent VODs, I think it was... Actually, that might not be up yet. I'm not sure what order I'm going to be putting these up. I'm going to assume that it's not up yet. Okay, cool. I don't have to sit down and attune to each individual thing all over again. Yes? Might I help you find something? With all the tomes stored on our shelves, I understand that searching for any one in particular can be a daunting task. Please let me know if I can be of service. And Anthibert? Centilde. Books on the shelves are free for any resident of the Crystarium to borrow. You need only put in a request. The basement archives, however, are restricted to all but authorized personnel. Excuse me, miss. Have you recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic rules, you see, and, well, what I mean is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll, even? A scrap of scribbled-on parchment? My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morn at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? I came to meet with you. Oh, so you've an interest in modern history? Splendid! A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives. I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment and I'll fetch it for you. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair? Make yourself more comfortable? On with the lesson then. Wow, look at that. 100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled without cease, till the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us, the Oracle of Light. She stood twixt us and approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvant, and Norvant alone spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from the Norvant sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastion of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. Or if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. Your exchange with Morin has taught you about the Flood of Light. I just forgot to get screenshots of like the first two. Or, well, I think I got a screenshot of like the middle one only. Oh no, I only missed the first one. Okay. Cool. That was all I needed, was just to get that. So now we can go back here. And yes, I am doing this as if I do not have the Ethernet unlocked. To just, you know, go wherever, because normally that's what you'd have to do. So, plus, you know, this lets us get a good view of the Crystarium and the Crystal Tower, for example. I'd best make a note of this. Catless. Fair to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking. It's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized, too, thanks to us and the mean. We work together to procure materials and resources, and craft the goods which make city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Just don't go thinking it'll all be handed to you on a plate like those Yulmoran layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, we work for a living. Though I see you're no stranger to honest labor, you don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where's it you're from? The homeland of the Crystal Exarch. One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him. And any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think of it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence. Pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looks exactly the same as he did back then. He's indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his secrecy, he has never yet let us down. So if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've aught to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. I could not freaking read that for some reason. Just ask for Catless, and I'll find you a niche here in the Crystalline Mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Your exchange with Catless has taught you about life in the Crystarium. This is one of the new mechanics that was added in Shadowbringers that I'm not entirely sure I feel like was necessary. You'll see what I mean when we get, to when we go to turn the quest in. But it has to do with the whole, you learned about this thing that's been popping up. Musica Universalis. Cannot do that while in New Game Plus mode. Makes sense. I mean, I shouldn't have access to it anyway, because I haven't done the thing. I haven't met the girl yet. So. New to the city, friend. That's the spinning head and wide eyes give you away. Welcome. My name is Broggy. I'm the master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. Too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for humans such as yourself. So finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. I'm sorry, did you say Humes? Something wrong? Let's see if we can straighten this out. See those two in the front of us? The shorter is a Hume, like you. And the taller one is an elf. The sturdy individual over there is a Gulgent, whilst the one with the horns is a Drawn. And then you have the large, scaly chaps with the long tails and a knack for raising livestock. They would be the Zun. Which is apparently not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. The Crystal Exarch's homeland. The same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. I've had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they floundered over the simplest things. But not to worry. Should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. The exchange with Broggy has taught you about the people of the First. I didn't point them out earlier, but I'm sure you'll spot a Meistel or another Ronso like me sooner rather than later. Even beasts like Captain Lena aren't that unusual in the city. The Crystarium's long been a sanctuary for all manner of refugees, except maybe the dwarves. Those lot prefer to keep to themselves. Those lot prefer to keep themselves to themselves, in my experience. It's a Ronso! So yeah, if you played FF10, that's the only one that I know of that has Ronso in it. One of your party members is a Ronso. But, yep, they are meant to be the same people. So, they look a little different in this game, but they are meant to be the same race. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of the world and its people? This thing, where you're turning in notes. It's like, why did we add this? Life in the Crystarium, an account of how the Exarch summoned the Crystal Tower, and the city built by the refugees who sheltered there. An account of how the Warriors of Light caused the flood, which later led to the appearance of the Sin Eaters. An account of how the races of the Source are known by different names in the First. Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but it was necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted that the details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the self-same one you know from the Source, transported to the First in its entirety. It was my first attempt at breaching the boundary between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing. And although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. Travelers of Norvand, the Crystal Exarch is finally ready to discuss the matter of your comrade's whereabouts. You've done as I requested, and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it's time I fulfilled my half of the bargain, and explained what has befallen your comrades. This is a conversation I would rather have in the privacy of my quarters, however. I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things. But I shall see the guard knows to admit you. Tower's gate lies open then? Just like that? Then Grahatia is... I am not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? Yeah, he should have been inside of the tower when it opened up. An extraordinary tale. I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it best that we focus on the present. So yes, if we had played through the story of the Alliance raid, basically you met this character named Grahatia. He is one of like 2 people that are still alive that are descended from the noble line of the Allegons. And so him and like one other person have the ability to open these doors. And one of them dies, leaving only Graha. And she basically gives, like, she basically gives, like, her, like, Allegon, like, self powers, like her Allegon authority, that's what I'm looking for, over to Graha, and he becomes the literal only person who remains that can make the tower do anything. And then when you seal, when the Alliance raid finishes, you seal the tower off and he stays inside, locked in the tower, essentially in stasis. So, greetings, madam. The Exarch awaits you within. And unfortunately, they don't let us see very much of the Crystal Tower because, one, it would be the same Crystal Tower as the Alliance raid, and 2, none of this was planned back then, so none of this actually exists in the Crystal
Welcome
Tower.
To the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind.
Sure.
Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions. To put it simply, they are here in the first. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the first, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence, and thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time.
Convenient.
As for your companions, however, Yustola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5. Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the first for almost a year.
Jeez.
My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete.
Whoops.
Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch.
Why is it always Thancred, though?
Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, They are stranded here, unable to return.
Then find a way to send them back. What have they been doing all this time?
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future. That which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the source. This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the first, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
Aye, but I'll see you keep that promise.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around. Crystarium boasts a number of residential districts, but I've been informed that a room has just become available at the Pendants, which, as it turns out, is perfect. The path there will take us past the markets. I was hoping to give you my own introduction to their wares. Come along. Okay, yeah, he's just down there. I wanted to make sure that I didn't need to meet him like halfway before I went to the markets via the Ethernet. This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here.
Musica Universalis markets.
Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gear you carry will serve you well enough.
Huh?
Each nation once minted its own coins, but was all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice.
Convenient.
From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
Tombstones! Specifically the poetics kind. Ugh! More tombstones! More tombstones!
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. Avan Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here. What amusements do you have for me today?
That's Feo Ul.
My
I
dear
immediately
Feo
hate it.
Paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task.
See, in the Japanese version, Feo Ul's voice is this super cutesy, like, voice.
This fine
So
lady
I
is a friend
immediately
of
hate
distant
this
realms.
voice.
And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from her home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift? How wonderfully exciting! What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did! You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin.
Now, I will say that they've got the Gaelic accent down. I mean, for all I know, they could have just hired a freaking Irish actor, or actress in this case. But
Answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails?
again, she's supposed to have like a super cutesy voice. So this is really awkward sounding to me. But I feel like I'm going to encounter that with
Then
everything.
you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass.
So,
From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Snae Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand. Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then, make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap her message to your friends in the source to inform them of your safe arrival.
yeah, that'd be a great idea. Send a message to Kriel. Because of course, we're sending it to
Consider it
Kriel.
done.
Bing!
As you heard, that was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
Sure. Yeah, like, and I'll note, like, you know, no offense meant to the actress herself. As a result of your pact with Faerul, you now have access to delivery moogles, market boards, and summoning bells while in the first. And suddenly the people of the source start going, what the heck are these items? You know, because we're suddenly dumping a bunch of items from the first over to the source. The people are, you know, checking the market board and they're like, what the frick is this? Ah, there you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodation. We'll have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay, to make use of as you see fit. When you are ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray, rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene in the Ocular anon. I believe that covers all of the practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call, Rin. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but may peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. Pleasure to meet you, miss, and welcome to your new home at the Pendants. Your room is ready if you care to retire. Our room at the inn. A place that we will come back to time and time again. You could say this serves as a sort of hub for our journey. It's daytime! Even though it's the middle of the night. Huh? Hi there.
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
The warrior of darkness.
What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been?
I feel bad for him.
That was what I called myself in your world. The warrior of darkness.
Because he spent the last 100 years being unable to interact or talk or anything.
My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source and tried to hasten their god's damned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia. How she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the first.
There they are, though. The warriors of darkness.
The flood was poised to swallow Northrant. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood?
I mean, everybody's saying about 100 years.
100 years. 100 long years. My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that?
I was brought here by the Exarch. And also a whole bunch of other stuff that we tell them
You were
because,
summoned to
you know.
save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
The next morning, I don't even like stop to get, you know, breakfast or anything like that, you know. I just like, I wake up and I just walk right out. And head straight to the freaking Crystarium. Or the Crystal Tower, rather. Also, I clicked the wrong Aetheryte, but it's fine. It would take me as long to get through the menu to go here, you know, along with the fade in, fade out, all that. Like, it would take just as long to go there as it would just to walk over here. I'm the type of person that will rarely ever use Peloton or Sprint because and I was gonna say it earlier and I just realized I forgot. I've done calculations, like tests, and I have been able to determine that your running speed here, if you run for 25 seconds just straight, you will get as far as a single sprint. Which means that you're literally saving only 5 seconds on sprint. Meanwhile, Peloton, which lasts 30 seconds, has a lower boost than sprint. And you'll get, I believe, based off my tests, I would like to test it again just to double check. But I believe that 30 seconds of Peloton will get you as far as 10 seconds of sprint. Like, that's the difference in the speed boost. And 10 seconds of sprint will only save you 2 seconds. So, like, Peloton, 30 seconds of Peloton will get you 2 seconds. You know? Miss Rin, the Exarch awaits you within. Any less than the full Peloton, and you're only getting a second. Like, and even then, like, any less than 15 seconds of Peloton, and you're not even saving a second. It makes me laugh, especially in, like, dungeons.
Ah, how did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest.
Because I've seen people, like, hit sprint to get to the boss room, like, after the final, like, enemy pull. And I'm like, you're literally not getting there any faster. Like, you're sprinting for 3 seconds. There is literally no difference. Well enough, thank you. I had a ghostly visitor.
I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts.
This is like, what? Alright. Norman!
This map shows the lands of Northrend, the only area to be spared the flood of light.
And there's the flood. The flood of light right there. The wall of crystal just suddenly, like, you know, it just a wall of crystal just sprouts up, basically. And then everything outside of that is just completely barren.
The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Il-Meg. That is where you'll find Urianger.
Il-Meg.
To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest. Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alize, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armorang. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin-Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alize felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe. So, will it be Calicia or Armorang? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount.
Alrighty.
Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of sin eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
Alright. Sounds like a plan. Travelers of Norvad. Complete! In search of Elfino. The Crystal Ark is eager for you to meet with Elfino. You will visit Elfino in Kalusia, then? Excellent. As I mentioned, your destination is an island off the west coast, so you will need a mount capable of making the journey. Here's a letter of introduction, presented to Zem Zenmai, the Master of Beasts at Temenos Rookery. He will take care of you. When you see Elfino, be sure to pass on my warmest regards. Ah, it actually locks you out of the other one. Specifically because we're in New Game Plus. And New Game Plus, you can only have one quest. Interesting. Alright. I'm okay with that. I probably knew that from doing Endwalker. Like, I probably encountered that when I had the New Game Plus, the very beginning of Endwalker. But I did not remember it, so it's fine. Zem Zenmai. You will face the unknown to me. What business have you at my rookery? A letter of introduction addressed to Zem Zenmai and signed by the Crystal Exarch. Humph. Signed by the Exarch, no less. Yes, I can provide you with an Amaro for passage to Kalusia. I'll pick you out a friendly whelp. An Amaro, you say? That's right. Mounts like my gray friend over there are a common sight in these parts. But I gather you hail from further afield. More accustomed to chocobos, perchance? I hear there are a few places where they ride little else. Seeing as you are plainly unaccustomed to riding a Amaro, I think it best I accompany you on this flight myself. Any Zun worthy of the name could do it, of course, but the Exarch sent you to me. Ensuring your safety is my responsibility. Gather your things and meet me at the Amaro Lodge. One of the junior tamers will attend to you while I ready the mounts. Also, the nuts people. I do have that unlocked, but I think I have to actually, like, exit New Game Plus to do those. You need to procure yourself an Amaro, then I reckon you've come to the right place. 1 second, if you would, and there we have it. Add you to our register. Pray, come back when you're in need of a mount. Thank you. You want to fly an Amaro to Kalusia? Well, I suppose if Master Zenmai is going with you. Wait here, please. The Master should be along with the mount shortly. You can now travel to Kalusia. Speak with the aspiring Amaro tamer to fly to the island. You can also use your ether compass to assist with locating ether currents in new regions. Ether compass can be found under collection in the duties section. I think that might have been a new thing with Shadowbringers.
The pounding surf frozen. Time itself takes a breath. At Light's Edge, all is perfectly still. The world captured in a painting, locked in a moment. Music, faint and fleeting, drifts coastward on the lifeless air. And in the distance, beyond the broken earth, a city beckons.
Kalusia. We are arrived. This is Cracked Shell Beach on the eastern coast of Kalusia. Should be safe here for the present. Compared to the mainland, Sin-Eater attacks are far less prevalent, and the native beasts are not any more dangerous than elsewhere. It is the people you should be wary of. Spy you the city in the distance? That is Yulmore, the island's main settlement. It rivals the Crystarium in scale, and was once an ally in our battle against the abominations. For years, the Yulmoran elite have fancied themselves the master of what remains of our broken world. They've gone as far as to offer the leaders of other settlements their protection, if we bend the knee. But to say their ideals are questionable would be putting it mildly. The Crystarium is one among many who resist their heavy-handed authorities. And while we are not at war, our relationship with Yulmore is strained at best. It may be wise to conceal your ties with the Exarch during your stay here, especially in the vicinity of the city. Alright. I'll keep that in mind. I'm glad we understand each other. Now, the Exarch has instructed me to divulge a secret that should make finding your friend a good deal easier. Listen closely. And we will listen closely next time. So, I hope you've enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe if you have. There is a playlist for Shadowbringers somewhere. It should pop up on the end card, you know. So feel free to check that out to see other episodes. And normally I stream over at twitch.tv/SereneInc, but I am currently moving. And so I'm doing a whole bunch of pre-recorded videos to last about a month so that I can do that. So there's that. Yeah. Feel free to come on out, check out the streams and so on. When I inevitably return to streaming in my new house. So, and with that, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.